Upcoming episodes hint at rising unease for one familiar face on the cobbles as tensions flare and a sudden absence leaves another resident puzzled. Trouble is brewing again next week, with one character finding themselves back under intense pressure from a controlling partner. They're pushed to their limit by relentless training demands, and when a friend stops by to offer support and drop off some gear, the strain begins to show. While preparing lunch, they admit their legs are aching from the constant workouts. In the teaser clip, they're shown sitting on the floor in a dressing gown while their friend massages the tension from their calves. The mood is light, with playful teasing about whether this treatment is the price of a lunch invitation. Meanwhile, their partner glares across the room, silently fuming as irritation builds. Noticing the cold stare, the exhausted character grows uneasy and quickly insists their friend can't stay long. The visitor then remembers another commitment and makes a cheeky comment about ensuring they're properly dressed next time. As laughter follows, the jealous partner remains stone-faced, offering a stiff farewell. Once back on their feet, they chuckle that the pain in their legs has eased, but the smile fades as they meet their partner's disapproving gaze. Haunted by recent explosive behavior and increasingly manipulative patterns, they watch anxiously as their partner's expression grows even darker. Could this escalating tension signal real danger ahead? Elsewhere next week, a detective begins to worry about his superior officer, who mysteriously fails to arrive at work. At the station, he notes that the absence is completely out of character. As more time passes with no sign of him, he turns to a colleague for answers and questions where the missing man might be. Though the coworker seems unfazed, the detective isn't convinced and quietly frets over the unexplained disappearance. His instincts prove justified, because spoilers confirm that the missing officer is violently targeted in upcoming scenes. When the news reaches him, he immediately alerts a fellow officer to the situation. He doesn't stop there. He also voices suspicions that her former partner could be involved after recent friction between them. But will she believe him? And if his hunch is right, he might need to tread carefully before confronting the wrong person. Coronation Street fans blast absurd plot, but rumble who landed Carla in police trouble. Viewers of the ITV soap think they've uncovered the real culprit who landed a popular character in trouble with the police in the latest installment. Fans believe they've pieced together who actually set off the chain of events that led to her being hauled in for questioning. For the past year, audiences have followed the highs and lows of her relationship with a detective, and the pair even built a dedicated online fan base. Their engagement, however, took a hit when the detective's long-presumed dead spouse dramatically resurfaced earlier this year. When the detective first appeared in the story, she said her partner had been killed on duty years before. That tale unraveled months later when it was revealed the supposed death had been fabricated as part of a criminal cover-up, and the missing woman had been living overseas all along. Since returning, she has repeatedly arrived uninvited at the house, rekindling her bond with her daughter and doing everything she can to reclaim her old life. The latest episode began peacefully, with the couple enjoying a rare day off together. One of them planned a romantic outing, but things quickly fell apart when she received a frantic call saying police officers were waiting for her at the factory over a fraud allegation. She rushed over, immediately convinced she knew who had stirred up the trouble. She snapped at the officer. "You know exactly who's behind this. Go on, ring her, ask her. This is ridiculous. I could scream." When the officer tried to open the car door for her, she retorted that she was perfectly capable of doing it herself before being driven away. During her interview with another officer, she explained that she had planned a whole day of pampering, shopping, and a meal out, only for the supposedly deceased ex to overhear her plans and create chaos. She demanded the pretense end and insisted she be released. Her interviewer refused to confirm whether the complaint came from the resurrected spouse. Moments later, his superior, the very man responsible for engineering the original fake death, summoned him outside. After their private discussion, The officer abruptly ended the interview without further explanation. Back home, emotions boiled over. When the troublesome ex walked in, the factory owner grabbed her by the collar and shoved her onto the sofa. The detective arrived in the middle of the scuffle and told her fiancé to stop, only for her to fire back that she might as well make the arrest worthwhile. Then came an unexpected twist. The detective had just spoken with her superior, who claimed that a former business client had filed the fraud accusation. Viewers will recall that this same client previously caused a storm at the factory when he wrongly accused an employee of inappropriate behavior during a meeting. She was taken aback and argued that the whole situation didn't add up, pointing out that her previous interaction with the man had ended perfectly amicably. She reminded her partner that she'd even knocked a sizable chunk off his bill as a goodwill gesture. The only potential misstep she could recall was complaining about him, rather heavily, to one of his old friends over lunch. Still, she couldn't imagine him blowing things out of proportion to this extent, especially not to the point of involving the police. Despite the explanation she'd been given, a nagging doubt continued to linger. Later that day, while sitting in the cafe with her nephew, she admitted she couldn't shake the feeling that the resurrected ex was somehow lurking behind the scenes, pulling strings and stirring up trouble. She argued that every time something went wrong, the ex seemed to be conveniently close by, as if waiting for the perfect moment to cause even more chaos in her life. But viewers watching at home had a different theory altogether. Many believed the real issue lay inside the police station itself, and that the recently ambitious junior officer, who had only just been tipped for a promotion, might be involved in something far murkier than he was letting on. One fan took to social media to claim that the detective superior seemed unusually quick to lay the blame at the feet of the former client, particularly since that same client happened to have a connection to the junior officer's partner. They pointed out how conveniently the facts lined up, suggesting the whole thing smelled of a cover-up. Another viewer proposed an even more intriguing possibility, that the superior officer deliberately told the junior officer to keep quiet about the truth. In their eyes, it looked like the boss wanted the factory owner to lose her temper with the wrong person, possibly to distract from his own shady involvement in the long-running mess surrounding the fake death scandal. A third fan believed the storyline was escalating into something bigger and wilder, arguing that both officers were clearly being dishonest about who had filed the report. Their theory was that the ex might still have connections to the former client and could have teamed up with him to orchestrate a revenge plot. According to this speculation, the entire fraud accusation had been carefully engineered not only to frame the factory boss, but also to drive a deeper wedge into her already fragile relationship. With so many unanswered questions, fans are convinced the truth is far more twisted than what has been revealed so far, and they're eagerly waiting for the next episode to see whether any of these theories prove correct.